Put a little bit of the rub, nigga, I gotta be safe.
Let's get to sports talk.
That you say to yourself, wow, he's unbelievable. And yet by every standard of measure, he's just not as good as I think all of us envision him to be. So through a quarterback's eyes, Mark, when you're watching Carson Wentz right now, what are we seeing?
You're so back and forth, but the best thing that happened to Carson Wentz has been Nick Foles. It's changed the perception about Carson Wentz because they won the Super Bowl that year, and he was on pace to be an MVP. But he's either hurt or played pretty average.
Everyone keeps saying he's playing average. But he had 2,000 yards, 16 touchdowns, and 4 picks. Let that sink in. Them are good numbers right there. It's not his fault that his wide receivers don't catch for him at all. They could have beat the Patriots. But Aguilar did not catch the last pass to tie the game. This been happening all year, and he still come out with 16 touchdowns and 4 picks.
And right now, I mean, he gets so many excuses made for him that Dak doesn't get.
Yeah.
I mean, Dak's the best quarterback in that division, hands down.
That's an important point. And Vilma, we were talking about this in our meeting this morning, and you're seeing video here. Of course, this was Nick Foles leading that team to the championship, including this, maybe the most famous play in recent Super Bowl memory, the Philly special. But if you look at Wentz, all of the excuses that people make for him, all the injuries, all the drops, Sanchez just said it. Those are all the excuses no one ever wants to make for Dak Prescott.
Exactly, and they need to make those excuses, or they have to call it what it is for Carson Wentz. He's not that good of a quarterback. Now, I understand the drops that the receivers have had, but we don't make those excuses for Dak. Also, what about the overthrown balls? What about the misreads that we've seen from Carson Wentz? And we're always talking about he has to have the run game to help him out, right?
I want you to look at these numbers on the screen. These came from something Hembo tweeted yesterday, and I wanted to make it a full screen because the numbers are remarkable. Carson Wentz, in games that he starts over the last 2 years, the Eagles are either exactly average or slightly below average in everything. And this is a guy who we all know what he is hyped up at times to be. So, Bobby, why isn't it? What is missing there?
Well, I think it's the fact that when you need a play sometimes, he comes up a little short. He may overthrow someone on a 3rd and 5, or maybe he takes a bad sack. The reason why people think he's great is you watch the film and you grab onto these highlights. You pull, you see him, you make the athletic, you see him make the athletic plays, but as you're watching, here's some of the stuff.
I get it, what they saying. Misreads. I get what he's saying. At the end of the day, look at his numbers right now in the season. If he playing average, he should have 16 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. That's average right there. He's still playing good because I look at the numbers. I get it. Dak Prescott has a better team right now. That's why nobody making no excuses. He had the better team to be able to win the playoffs. Wentz can get in the playoffs and help the Eagles win as well. But things are going on over there. He do have an injured wide receiver in Deshaun Jackson. Dak had the team to win. He had the defense to win. He had Randall Cobb, Maury Cooper. He got the wide receivers that's consistent of catching the football. That's why they're not making excuses. Everything is in the favor for Dallas. But can they get that job done? Because there's a lot of things going on in Philly right now.
Like, he's sitting in the pocket, he has time, and he's just missing guys. And those are throws that good quarterbacks, consistent quarterbacks make, and you have to make to move the chains, and that's why this offense has been average. And then you watch him do something spectacular, and you think, this is it. If we can just get more of this, he's going to be really good, and he hasn't been able to consistently deliver those spectacular moments.
And this is a great example of where sometimes national perception is so different than it is locally, because, Sanchez, you could say maybe Nick Foles was the best thing that happened to him. I get what you meant by that, but on On the other hand, it could be the worst thing because in Philly, they hate Carson Wentz. They all bemoan the fact that they traded away Nick Foles.
Yeah, and you look at Carson Wentz right now, as we were comparing him to Dak Prescott, we have stopped talking about Carson Wentz as being one of the top quarterbacks. Remember, Dak Prescott, the only reason that there's always debate is because why? We have a few that think he's really good and a few that believe he's average. Carson Wentz is just, frankly, just fallen. He's just right there in the average category. That's why we don't talk about
And he really was on that trajectory to be one of the top quarterbacks in the league, and things got derailed, whether it was injury.
I get it. Nick Foles took to the Super Bowl and won it. I get it, players play for him. We got to see him run his own team again. And he came back for Jacksonville right now. We got to see him in a full season of being his team, not come off the bench. Say if y'all would have kept Nick Foles and y'all wouldn't have did nothing, then what y'all say? I get it, the missed throws. I get it that there are excuses. I get it that he's not playing how y'all want him to play, but he has 16 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. I don't know what average at. Y'all keep talking about excuses, but y'all gotta understand why he hold the football, Miss Reed. His wide receivers are not on the same page as with him. You gotta have wide receivers to catch the football for you. That's not no excuse. When you don't see your wide receivers doing that, you'll hold the football longer. Because you don't know, can you trust them to catch?
Or just poor performance, throwing to guys that are covered or missing open guys.
If you really look at the numbers, since that 1 year he was brilliant and then he got hurt, outside of that, the numbers really have not been that good. Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports, highlights, and analysis,